Hi everyone. It's been a while since I had a video up. It's Thursday. I'm sorry. Yeah, Thursday, February 2nd. For those of you who watch these that weren't a member of my website, I had a website, learnstocks101.com, that had been up since 2010. And a few months ago, my uh, hosting company was trying to move me to another server and just destroyed my website. I wasn't the complete developer of it. I did most of the stuff, but it was at a point where I have to decide whether I want to keep this up or try to service my members in another way. So we're in a little transition. So I started posting videos on YouTube so that my members could see what I was doing. But the problem with everything is that I had ways to get a hold of my members on the site with a messaging system that they would sign up for or not. And I would have let them know that I had a baby the last 10 days with my wife, and that's what's kept me away from the computer. Didn't really take many vacations or anything in those 12, 13 years that I've been doing this almost. It'll be 13 years in April. Um, so if you haven't seen me around, or if a member catches this, because it's one of my free ones, I service my members in other ways too right now. I was able to get some stuff downloaded from the back end of the site. So I may try to add the information I needed, but couldn't get the site back up. So again, I'm still servicing my members personally as they ask me questions and ask for information. But I try to put up some free videos so everybody else has something to look at as well, and they have something to look at. So I want to do this one, not too long a video, just let you know what I'm looking at recently, and a little bit of trading I talked about before, trading on Thursdays and Fridays using like options that expire Friday, so you can do it Thursday or Friday using smaller frame charts. So I'm not going to explain everything that's going on here. I'll touch on it. What I like to use a lot of Fibonacci retracement stuff. So I tagged the low of the, so this is a run up. There's a pullback. There's a high. There's a consolidation phase. So you tag the high in the consolidation to the low of the pullback. So there's my fib to know if we could break out over 417.14, which we're trying to do right now. You get to 419.08. This is the SPY. So just looking at trading the SPY, if I was looking to trade this up, from four, I would look at the 418s or the 419s that are expiring tomorrow, the calls, and both of them are good, obviously good volume. You don't want to go way out of the money because then you're going to get beat up on a Thursday or Friday. You want to stay a little bit either at the money, just one strike or two out. So what you're looking at here is a combination of a couple indicators that Thinkorswim have, that I've combined in something that I'm working on, not to perfect, but to try to get best entries possible. And there's a lot of ways to skin a cat, so I'll go over a few things here. The red and green candles are not red and green candles as you would typically see. These are indicating whether the mood of this action on the candle is bearish or bullish. That's red bearish, green bullish. So I go to my regular chart on this, you're going to see that a lot more different on the red and the green. So what this does is give me arrows, say when we should be headed back up, maybe headed back down, compared to the data that these candles are supplying to the indicator. You want it to be trending in a way, or some kind of action you think could make it break out because you want to move to make money. So like right here at the beginning of, that's 2:30 yesterday, that's a great move that you could have maybe traded. I don't know if you trade it overnight because it's a expiring option, but then you see the red candle down. Now these white arrows don't form exactly on that candle. They wait for some more data and the candle's over. But the thing is, you always want to trade in a trend. So what I use the RSI down here, which shows me whether the trend is bearish or bullish by, let's get this, above or below the 50 line. See right now it's trending above the 50 line on a 5-minute chart. So that's bullish. It's just waiting for a move. So I combine a lot of different things to make, I don't need all of them to happen to get into a trade, but you want it to be bullish, again, above the 50 on the RSI. The 8 EMA, 21 EMA, 55, you want them to be lined up in a proper way to to be bullish on the trade. Obviously, you look at the trend and you see that too, and this is the squeeze indicator that shows whether there's a consolidation phase that might be breaking out here. A lot of different ways to enter these trades. I mean, any white up arrow you could have entered the trade. but that, that wouldn't have been a bad one because everything was bullish. No squeeze though, but everything was bullish. And you got a down arrow there. You say, okay, that's resistance. A lot of ways to enter these trades, because if I'm looking at this data from this point over, I'm saying that looks pretty good for another move up. I don't have the high tagged yet, so I don't know if that is the high. So you can get faked out every once in a while, but you have to stay in the trade until you don't like the trade more. Everybody has a different way to get out. But once you see all this action, I think I logged on about an hour ago. Now I'm doing the video now and just was looking to see what happened. I don't like to do things midday, so 12:45 when I was looking at that, I like to stay away from the beginning of the morning, like first half hour, 45 minutes, maybe do something if we get a move uh, by 10, 15, maybe between 10, 11, 10, 15. But around midday, you like to there's not a whole lot of action most of the time, so you just wait till 2, 3 o'clock. It's now 1:56 Eastern. This would be a good time to start looking at stuff. But I drew these fibs and everything at that 12:45 or so, about an hour ago when I logged on. I was looking at some things. So you see it's consolidating, you know that, because you got arrow, arrow, arrow up, arrow down. So you use the fib retracement. If it breaks out over 417, you get into a trade. You also had the squeeze going here, so jump in anytime during that squeeze. Again, not all trades go your way, so figure out what you're going to put on the trade and what you could lose. You see, I can't go back to where we were before, to where these options would have been trading at. But obviously here, they had a little false breakout here about 1:05 p.m. Again, I don't want to be messing around at that time, but logging back on here at 1:30, 1:45, you can get a move, and we are. So use the fib as the breakout. They had a resistance here. Like I said, I don't know where these were. I can probably look at it on the chart if I go. So what was that? 1:45 you got, or 1 o'clock you got a breakout. Let's say you're going to trade that breakout on the 419s. So pull this. More on that. Toss charts. Throw it over here. So then you go back. Where's 1 o'clock? These 419s were trading at about a range of 185, 160 to 180. Call it 165 to 185. Because you could have jumped in there. Wouldn't have got a whole lot of beat down on there. Your lowest you ticked was a low of 153, and now you're up at 224. That's how you find out these options. So this has been a good idea of an intraday trade on the SPY on a Thursday or Friday using multiple entry ideas. Squeeze, bullish activity. Again, this is on a 5-minute chart. So you could also do this on a 1-minute chart, but you're going to get bounced around a lot more. Go look at that. You see the move again. This is the move at like 1 o'clock. And then you're heading up. Now, the options don't really always mirror this. And there wasn't a squeeze at that time on the 1 minute. 1 minute will really bounce around, so 5-minute works. But you have to be, 5 minutes on Thursday is a good idea to me. And then 1 minute on Friday if you're trying to get in and out of things real quick is one way to do it too. Again, you got the arrows, you got the green candles, bullish activity on the. It doesn't mean that the candle went up just because it's green. It could be red. So you look at all the only one red candle since 12:10 on the 1 minute chart or 5-minute chart. So right here's 12:10 right here. We got a bunch of decently red candles. So just to let you know that the reds are not always red and the greens are not always green on this one. So we're running to that 419. So where would you take profit here? Anywhere near 419. You don't want to get greedy. Like I said, it would be 160. Say you got in the middle 175. You're up at 230, 240. Up around 230 on the 419s. Now that's pretty good profit for what is it? An hour's long of a trade. 675, 50 cents. 50 cents on a 175 entry. I'm crazy with trying to do math in my head right now. About 33% gain. You can take that, do a few of those. So that's what I'm looking at to play with on Thursdays and Fridays. Now I want to just show you what I'm just looking at in general on these markets and stuff like that, just so you get an idea of where my head is at. So we're going to take this and put us on our regular chart ideas. We're going to go back to a year on the daily because this, we know 2021 was not a good year for the markets or for trying to trade to the upside. So the first thing we're trying to look at is at 431.73. If you watch the videos, you know that's the big level, because if you go to a weekly chart, high or high there back on January of 22, hit a low, lower high, lower low, lower high, similar low to a lower low, lower high, pull in, but not a real pullback. A move over this 431.73, because that's not really a pullback to me. A move over that puts this weekly chart back in a bullish perspective. You might even say that this could be one again, but that's not really a pullback per se, but even that move puts us in a more bullish attitude. But 431.73 is the key to me. If you look on the Qs on that weekly, same kind of thing. 333.57. We're making our way to it. That changes our opinion of what we're thinking the markets could do the rest of the year. Not that they have to, but that breaks the whole problem of what we're doing in the weekly. And the reason, like I say, like right here, you see that's not a run and a pullback to me. The 21 EMA is like my line in the sand for these runs, for these swings. And you see that this one did get through the 21, so that could be it. Like I said, I was always looking at 431.73. That'll really change the perspective. So what's been moving? Well, at least today we have, Coinbase has been really moving over the past week or two. That's a weekly chart. Let's go back to the daily. You see the run that it's been making here as it hit the low on low of January 6th of like 30, 32, below 31. It's almost doubled since then. So that's something that there's momentum going. We like to trade on momentum. If you're trading, as the word trade, momentum is your friend. So momentum is what you want to go. Anything with momentum is what you're trying to look at. Meta. I don't know if I chase this because it's just one of those things that it's moved today. Will the momentum from that earnings report stay tomorrow? So I maybe try to stay away from that. Snap, I try to stay away from this too because it just came down here and based low, just got pummeled. This isn't something like Visa, solid company, or MasterCard that just trended up and down throughout the year and is starting to change trend. Snap, anything that looks like this is a red flag to me. Maybe it can be traded intraday, but I don't want to do anything with it on a daily chart. There's no trend coming here. It's not bouncing up and down. It just hit a bottom and stayed down there. I think the trade desk here up the top, something that would be tradable. We want to be bullish for a medium-term trade. Some of you hold for a couple of weeks or a month or so. You want the trend to change, and these trends aren't changing. Not a whole lot of momentum in that. DocuSign, not a good chart either. Shopify, not a good chart. I'm just looking at everything that's moving today. The charts that I like were Visa. Like I went back to, we in a year on this one? Yeah, 1 year. I might have to go longer on these. Look at these maybe on a weekly because they just been beat up so much in 21 or 22. So this 230, call it 237 has been a big key to me. You got the, I don't know if that's a P bar or what, but it could run up to 252.67 from there. I think that's a P bar on that weekly. MasterCard also trying to get it through. Well, it's been more consolidating. Let's remove that. Let's remove that. And let's remove that. So it's hard to get a swing for a fib on this one, but you're just going to look at this key level MasterCard, even though these aren't closing highs. 401. A run up to there would be very plausible, and a run through there, we could see extensions at a different time. A lot of these stocks I'm looking at on the left-hand side, Tesla is one I think I talked about in my last video with the trend, the dropping wedge or falling wedge a little bit. Broke out of that, you had a good idea it could run, but you had an earnings report when it broke out. It's hard to trade that. How do you trade this then? So right now you're looking for resistance, which it pushed through, or which is approaching at 198.92. That's these highs in here. You might run into some resistance there. You get a little pullback and run back up. And then you're looking at You always want to look at a target. Where could it go to? Has it run too much? I don't know if I jump in a trade here on this one, even though there's a lot of momentum, because you see what it does at 198.92 first. Pushes right through there, could go run right to 237. But that's quite a big run off the lows down here at 101, almost a double to 193 already. So you just look at the charts and you just pull up the thing that are moving and see what makes sense to you, and you go from there. Google, I've been watching. Again, it's run through that 103, 104 area I've been looking at. So there, if it stays there, but again, that's on a report. That report, actually, the report comes out today after the bell. It says 2 on 3:30 p.m. So you don't want to mess with that there on the report. And you have FedEx. Been a very bad chart, but it got through that gap area from the last report almost. Let's see. These gaps work as levels, like right here. This is the day before the last report at 203.22. Pushed through there pretty well. Just recently, after that last report came up, that means it's probably headed back up there to 240, 241. Momentum there? Yes. The report was a while ago. There's a lot of momentum there. And a lot of momentum in the markets too. So you just look at any of these charts and you say, what makes sense to me? That's how you determine. A lot of people I know pick certain, I only trade these 10 stocks. You know, that kind of thing. We look at Apple. What's Apple doing? Broke out of its consolidation in that pattern as well. That report is also today after the bell. So that's obviously have something to do with that stock. 2 after the bell. So that's why you don't want to mess with a lot of these earnings reports too. Let's look at Amazon. So that had a level 102, 103. I was watching down here for a long time. We got back through that. So we run up to 123. That report is also today after the bell. So a lot of these will have moves today after the bell, but right now they're all moving with the market. So let's get some of these reports out of the way. Nvidia and AMD were two I've been watching too. They have already had the report. Nvidia is coming up. That broke out. Let's look at this again on a weekly. That was this key level, say 208.88. I got tagged. Call it 209, 210. That was a big resistance support here. Not a lot of resistance, but support becomes resistance, etc. And I'm sorry, and vice versa. It could run back up to 265, but that report is coming out. Not for a while. 222. AMD's been a big winner, but 2022 it wasn't. That report just came out in the January, so it's pushing through this 85 level I had. That's not a great little level on the weekly, but it's support here. No real reason to see this on a daily. Yeah, that was not a great. That was probably had it drawn at that support level there. So you look at the recent levels of resistance, which were right in here. It's pushed through that, could run up, because that was a good level of resistance right there at 102, 103. Could run straight up to there. Again, just find anything with momentum. These are the things that I like to do if I'm trying to put on trades. Put a plan in place and see what you can do with them.